Hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Mother's Basement. And a few people recommended this a while ago. I was just going over all my subscriptions and I was like, do you know what? People have recommended this. Let's see what the hell this is about. Harry Potter anime knockoffs, a history. Let's see where this goes.
Naruto and Harry Potter are the same story. The tale of a young orphan whose parents lost their lives defeating a great evil and who was branded with a mark that permanently connects him to that evil entity in the process while also giving him some of that evil entity's powers.
Whoa.
This orphan leads a hard life with few friends until a special piece of paper allows him to enter a high school level training program for kids with supernatural abilities. After that, he's paired up with another boy and a girl who will eventually hook up with and despite some differences, the three quickly become inseparable. The orphan is a bit of a troublemaker, but it's okay because the old bearded guy who's in charge of everything likes him. The trio goes on a few adventures, one of which involves magical mirrors that can hide things from the real world, and then during a tournament to determine which kids are the best at supernatural bullshit, they're confronted by an evil snake man who used to be part of their supernatural school, but dropped out when he realized that being a goody two-shoes wouldn't
God, this blows my mind.
The Snake Man has kept himself in a state of pseudo-undeath by putting his soul inside of things that his soul really shouldn't be inside, including one of the kids who has been given a cursed mark that makes him a soul receptacle. Eventually, after the Snake Guy is killed way more times than anyone should reasonably be expected to have to kill anyone, he stays defeated and everyone lives happily ever after until an epilogue where a bunch of the protagonist's kids, who are basically clones of them, fuck everything up. Obviously, I'm stretching things a little bit.
Yeah, but still, there's some comparisons there.
I don't think it'll surprise any of you to learn that Naruto cribbed a whole bunch of its plot points from Harry Potter. After all, Harry Potter's monolithic worldwide success has made it one of the most influential fictional works of all time.
Oh my god, I'm on board now. This is interesting.
Properties have ripped it off, so it would be weird if anime and manga hadn't. But the funny thing is, as I learned doing research for a now scrapped Naruto online promotional video, Naruto actually came out the same year as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone made its debut in Japan. So these similarities can more likely be chalked up to the series drawing on similar heroic archetypes and the fact that while Harry Potter is inspired by the Bible and Naruto is inspired by Buddhism and Hinduism, snake symbolism is
so religion and that is definitely going to influence it,
so it would be hard to get away from it, no matter what it was based on. But while Naruto didn't rip off Harry Potter, there are a ton of Japanese authors who have, and a lot of their work has gotten turned into anime. In fact, there's an entire genre of anime and light novels that consists of almost nothing but cheap rehashes of Harry Potter's concepts, the Magical Academy genre.
Alright,
To be clear, J.K. Rowling did not invent the idea of a school for wizards. According to the world's most accurate source of knowledge, TV Tropes, the idea can be traced back to a few short stories from the 1950s, but it also cropped up in the Earthsea books as well as Terry Pratchett's seminal incredible Discworld series. And the roots of the concept can be traced back much further to Middle Ages folklore about regular universities. Hell, there was even an anime with a magical school in it that came out years before Harry Potter, Azukin Cha-Cha, which was decently successful in its own right. But
looks very cute.
After the first Harry Potter movie was released in 2001, the subgenre exploded, and there's a reason for that. Rowling's main contribution to the magical school mythos, and I would argue the source of her success, is that she uncovered and exploited the hell out of the most universally appealing facet of the concept.
And what's that?
For any kid who's bored or unhappy in school, the idea of going to a special secret school to learn magic is
it's more exciting than what our normal mundane lives are.
Suddenly becomes exponentially more exciting. You're elevated above the people who made your life miserable, and even if you meet new jerks at your new school who try to make you miserable in new ways, you can beat them at Quidditch, or turn them into ferrets, or just punch them in the face. It's more or less the height of escapist fantasy, because instead of erasing the crappy, mundane parts of real life, Harry Potter acknowledges that they exist, and then puts them somewhere else. It's not a mistake that every Harry Potter novel opens with a chapter or two about Harry's shit life with the Dursleys.
Because then it's like, it's uplifting to see him get away from it.
Whisk you away from it along with Harry. The anime industry thrives on escapist power fantasy.
Hell yes, it does. It's
really a natural fit. And of course, when you look at how much money the books and especially the movies made, it's hard to resist.
Harry Potter's made so much goddamn money. Oh my god, it's unreal.
Well, But perhaps the escapism in Harry Potter wasn't quite enough for the Japanese market, because a lot of authors did add a twist to the whole concept of what if you went to a school for wizards, and it was the same twist pretty much every time. What if everyone at that school for wizards also wanted to fuck you?
Man,
We see
add
this
to the
frequently
fantasy.
in crappy light novel adaptations
Boom.
like The Irregular at Magic High School, Asterisk War, Trinity 7, King Diamond, Our Academy, Unbreakable Machine Doll, Sky Wizards Academy, Magic Academy, and Akashic Record of the Bastard Magical Instructor, to name just a few.
Wow!
All of these
That's a lot.
shows are fundamentally the same
That's a
show,
lot.
and that show is Mahou, the granddaddy of all garbage magic school light novel adaptations.
Yeah?
Released in 2003 and based on a series of light novels that started in 2000, Mahou predates other proto-Harry Potter knockoffs like Negima, the Familiar of Zero, and Gaku and Alice, all of which
Oh
it's
my
worth noting
god,
were
there's a lot of
actually
stuff
pretty
I don't
decent
know,
by
I've
several
never heard
years.
of here.
In case you thought that maybe this rush of Harry Potter knockoffs was at least inspired by an anime that was kind of good, don't worry, Mahou is one of the worst anime that I've ever had the displeasure of sitting through in its entirety.
okay.
And since nobody is going to click on a video about some shitty harem anime from the early aughts that they've never seen, I basically made this whole essay just as an excuse to bitch about it.
Right,
Yet,
okay,
despite
cool.
its present irrelevance, it's remarkable just how much of the formula for terrible magic school harems was established in this one show. Just about every
damn.
one of these
Ooh,
light
it's
novel
paperback.
adaptations makes the same two adjustments to the Harry Potter formula. Firstly, they ditch the secret part of the secret magical
Oh,
school
okay, so
idea,
it's just
making the
a magical high
Academy
school.
a public institution. Secondly, the protagonist is much worse at magic, or esper powers, or auras, or whatever the fuck they call magic in that universe, than everyone else around him.
Right.
Except that actually he's much better than everyone else in a way that he keeps secret or that can't be measured by conventional tests, which is infinitely more relatable to someone who's coming to one of these series for wish fulfillment. Having unwanted fame like Harry Potter is an alien concept to most people, but deep down, pretty much everyone believes or would like to believe that they're some kind of unrecognized super genius, that
Yes.
they're only underachieving
God, if only
because
they knew what
society
I could
just
do.
doesn't get how great they are. In Mahou case, every person in the world has a limited number of lifetime magic uses, and once they use those up, they die.
Oh,
Its protagonist,
what?
Kazuki Shikimori, can only use magic 6 times in his life, which is pretty pathetic and
That
makes
is-
him the subject of a
what
lot
the
of ridicule,
what-
but it turns out
what-
that each of those 6 spells is actually a super amazing genie wish that can rewrite the entire fabric of reality.
Oh.
In 99% of these shows, those amazing powers, coupled with the fact that his nondescript blank slate personality makes him the nicest guy in the world somehow, would be the thing that makes everyone inexplicably want to bang him.
Well, yes.
But this is one area where Mahou actually differs from its copycats. It has a plot justification for all of the harem nonsense.
Oh, okay.
It was made back when people thought they needed those. See, Kazuki's family tree contains hundreds of famous, powerful magicians, and while he's
Of
not
course
the
it does.
greatest magician in the world himself,
It's
it's
been
all
carried
but
down.
guaranteed that one of his children will be. So, 3 rich magical dynasties whose powers have waned over the years send their daughters to fuck his brains out and sire his children.
So they
And
can-
if that
yes,
sounds like it might be
wow.
interesting, don't worry. It isn't. Despite the promise of hypersexualized harem
It isn't.
shenanigans that the core premise would seem to imply, Mahou is as tepid and sexless as any other PG-13 harem of its time.
Jesus.
It actually manages to make Love Hina look kinda racy. My
Oh.
philosophy with smut is that if you're gonna have it, go balls to
Go
the
all
wall.
the way.
Literally, if
Oh,
your
whoa.
story permits. But even if you don't have enough balls or walls for that kind of action, it pays to
Balls
make
to
something
the walls, yo.
unapologetically sexy like Mon Musu, as opposed to something watered down like Love Hina. By its very nature, fan service is gaudy and over the top, trying to pretend that it's tasteful just
What the
insults
hell
your
is
audience
this?
without actually giving them what they want. It's not like the show can carry itself on its characters or
hell
plot
is that?
either, since if you've seen one 90s harem anime, you've already seen
See them
Mahou
all,
like
yeah.
50 fucking times over. It has the same lame duck protagonist, the same generic supporting cast right down to the obnoxious reporter girl and the jealous asshole friend, and the same 3 love interests that every other show of its time had.
I get a
You've got
scream
the
of
tsundere
Tenchi
who wants
Muyo
to
here.
murder Kazuki right up until she decides she wants to fuck him. You've got the easy rich
You shall
blonde
die.
who probably
Once
be
I've signed
banging
your children.
Kazuki even if he didn't have super magic genes, and you've got the endearingly dumb, pink-haired bimbo childhood friend who has been in love with him forever. Two of these girls have also showed up in every Harry Potter knockoff series since. The tsundere, as it turns out, is the perfect main girl for any series like this, since a girl who acts like she hates me, secretly wants to bang me, is the only fantasy that's applicable in the lives of its main audience. The easy rich blonde, meanwhile, represents temptation or something, the Western devil, I don't know, but she's always the hottest one, so I'm glad that they kept her in.
Yeah, keep throwing that in, it's fine.
But the childhood friend is truly a relic of her time. Somewhere between Maburaho and Mahoka, the factories making these shows realize that having a girl already like the protagonist for who he is makes it infinitely harder for their audience to relate to him, and raises a huge plot-ruining question. Why doesn't he just bang her?
Yeah, why didn't he just go for it?
The answer they eventually landed on is because she's his sister, but it turns out that that doesn't actually solve the dilemma for most of their audience. Upon discovering this, most of the humans in charge killed themselves, leaving light novel generating neural nets to run the factories. Those neural nets decided to just run with it, and now humanity is destined for extinction. In terms of characters, there is absolutely nothing in Maburaho that you haven't seen a million times over, and you can't count on the plot to pick up the slack either. Author Toshihiko Tsukiji originally intended for the series to end with Kazuki using up all his magic and dying, which would have been a pretty bold move, all things considered, but due to editorial interference, he ended up continuing the series after that happened. Kazuki becomes a ghost, and we learn that he can revive himself by ghost-macking on every girl he has feelings for in order to recover his ashes, which are inside of their hearts for some reason.
Magic
so
love.
Even with the protagonist dead, the show manages to continue as business as usual with the same tired harem cliches for another 12 intolerable episodes. And when he comes back, instead of losing his memories, which is supposed to be the penalty that he pays for cheating fucking death, Kazuki is split into 10 clones so that every girl can have one of her own in the least satisfying harem ending in anime history. Apparently, the light novels continued through to 2011 with a completely different story, so if you're curious and you can read Japanese, you can go to bookwalker.jp and use the promo code BASEMENT to get 600 yen off any of the Maburaho light novels.
I'm alright, thanks.
You know, don't. On top of its terrible plot, Maburaho has some of the jankiest computer-assisted animation the early 2000s had to offer, a soundtrack that makes fucking Crazy Frog sound good in comparison, and some truly atrocious vocal performances in both Japanese and English. If you think you've seen a bad anime before, Maburaho exists to challenge your preconceptions. I've really only scratched the surface of everything wrong with it, so if you guys want to see me tear into it some more, let me know in the comments. At any rate, while other Magic School anime are a lot more polished, almost all of them are based on Maburaho's janky...
Regular at high school, I thought was so annoying.
The only thing that Mahoka added to the formula was the tournament art.
I got halfway through the first season, I was like, I can't watch this, it's so ridiculous.
No light novel author would ever need to think of believable...
And there's a second season coming out at some point, it's like, why?
Each other ever again. I mean, unwatchable as Maburaho is, at least it tries to do something a little different and drive its plot with character motivations. See, I'm not just knocking on these shows because I think it's funny. All of them have the same fundamental problem. They double down on the escapist elements of Harry Potter in order to make a quick buck without actually taking anything of value.
Right.
While those elements drove Harry Potter's wild success, in Rowling's stories they were a means to an end rather than an end in themselves. Rowling always made sure to remind her readers at the start and end of each book that the real world was a thing they had to deal with.
Yeah.
Even after
though you've escaped it, you're gonna have
Harry
to go
found
back.
a world full of the same problems that we face in ours, and ultimately, as the books matured, he had to grow up as well. The purpose of Harry Potter was not to make Rowling a millionaire. Well, it wasn't just to make her a millionaire. Rather,
definitely
it was
was
to
a factor,
craft a world and characters that kids could fall in love with, relate to, and learn from. And let me tell you, I am all for authors borrowing Rowling's concepts if they want to say something with them, like Negimo,
don't just
its
throw it
active
in.
rejection of the genre tropes that got it greenlit in the first place, or Little Witch Academia, which I hear is quite heartwarming and
I've
visually
heard some
inventive,
good things
and
about
which I
Little Witch
would
Academia.
love to
I think
see
it's
for
on
myself
Netflix.
one day. Netflix? There is
It's on there now, isn't it?
nothing original.
I'm pretty
under the
sure.
sun. As
Oh,
I
or was it
said
in
at the
Netflix
start
show?
of this video, Rowling herself co-opted a lot of her concepts from other fantasy authors, but in doing so, she managed to write a story that really resonated with readers, and there's no reason that someone who's borrowing her ideas couldn't do the same. Beyond the obvious knockoffs, there are countless Japanese authors who were inspired by Rowling in one way or another. Right after he signed this poster for me at the Bookwalker booth at AX, Danmachi author Fujino Omori ran off to the wizarding world of Harry Potter, so he's clearly a big fan, and I'd argue that you can see a bit of Harry Potter DNA in Danmachi,
I suppose so, yeah.
all of the book's other influences. Despite cribbing from lots of different sources, Omori managed to create a world that feels both alive and unique.
I really like,
his work, as well as
is it
a
Ron
best
trying to pick up
girl
girls in a
and
dungeon?
all best girls in Hestia.
Season 2 was
You can
good.
compare
Ended on a
Danmachi to
quite
lots of things, from
weird
Power
ending,
of
but
Draga to
intriguing.
SAO, but ultimately it's its own thing.
I wanna
And
know
despite
who that
how
girl was at the
close
end.
Little Witch is to Harry Potter, it is, at least as far as I've legally been able to watch it,
Yo.
very distinctly Trigger's own thing. But the shows I spent the rest of this video bitching about, you can describe those succinctly and accurately as Harry Potter with a harem and more wizard duels, or sometimes sci-fi Harry Potter with a harem and more wizard duels, which is depressing and not just from the perspective of the audience. I can't imagine how bored some of these writers must be churning out the same garbage over and
Over again, yeah, it must
the
be
irony
frustrating.
is that if they would just break away from this formula a little, they could create something as enduring as what it is they're
Something
trying
that
to copy.
stands out.
Probably not as enduring. Harry Potter is fucking huge, but they could
Yeah,
at
it's
least match
massive, isn't it?
Raildex, which
Jesus
was just
Christ.
different enough and is practically its own cinematic universe at this point. On that note, I've recently found myself enraptured with a new book, a light novel called The Combat Baker and Automaton Waitress. It's a delightful sci-fi fantasy story that grabs elements from some of my favorite properties,
The Combat Baker and
including Spice
Automaton
Wolf,
Waitress.
Monochromatic, Yakitate Japan, and Ghost in the Shell, to tell a story that feels unique and eminently charming. I could tell you that if you like Racketeer or the Atelier games or what have you, that you'll like this, but from what I've
No
read,
idea what they
Combat
are.
Baker is one of those stories that I was just talking about. It feels distinctly like its own thing. It's cute and emotionally resonant with some heavier themes
Combat
behind it,
Baker.
and it's very well translated aside from a few typos. It's a real page-turner, and you don't have to take my word for it either. You can read the first 3 chapters, 118 pages, for free right now at global.
That's cool. Probably not now, like, but that's cool at the time.
Store, which I finally gave the right URL in one of these videos. Combat Baker is Bookwalker's first exclusive title. You are not going to be able to read this anywhere else.
Oh, that's
and they
interesting.
are putting a heck of a push behind it. If you buy a copy before
Well, you
July
do. It's like
20th, you'll be entered
Crunchyroll
to win one
really
of
pushing
3
Tower of God right
gorgeous
now, which I'm really
Bookwalker
enjoying. And I think
exclusive
episode
clear
5's just gone up at the time we
files
recording
featuring
this.
the
I'm
novels. If you wanna get the
going to
novel
watch that as soon as I
and
finish
enter
this.
to win for under $2, you can use the coupon code BASEMENT at checkout to get 600 yen off your order of this or any of the other light novels on the store, which includes several of the terrible ones that I mentioned before, so buy those if you want both of us to suffer, I guess. Bit of fair warning though, that coupon will only work for new Bookwalker accounts that haven't used the code previously. If you
Keep
do
that
get
in
the
mind,
Combat
people
Baker
of the
and
past.
Automaton Waitress, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. And if you don't, I would love to hear what other Western properties you think have influenced anime in the past. And of course, don't forget to leave your comment talking about how weird my voice sounds because I have a cold. While you're leaving that comment,
Your voice sounds
don't
weird
forget
'cause
to
you
hit
have a cold.
subscribe, like the video if you liked it, do
Well, say it
the
now.
other thing if you didn't, and support me on Patreon if you really love me like all these real Canadian heroes. If you want to hear me talk some more about Western influences on anime, then you can check out a video where I discuss Hiroaka and One Punch Man as they relate to Western comics right up here. Or if you want to hear me
Well, it's
talk
not that,
about
'cause-
an even better book, then click down here for a comparison between the Spice and Wolf anime and light novel. You can click on my chest for new episodes of my podcast, which will be coming very soon. And if this is the last I see of you today, then I'm Jeff Thu, professional shitbag,
signing out from my basement. Oh, okay, never mind. Didn't say the thing. That was interesting. The opening with Naruto was funny, but then it's like, yeah, it was stretching, but saw what he was doing. Basically, and then the magical school thing, and you do get a lot of those. So there you go. If you suggest that, fun, check it out. That was different, interesting, learned some stuff. Awesome. Thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.